I bought a Bugatti Chiron for only $500. Grandma sold me his abandoned supercar. The garage door creaked open, revealing the dusty silhouette that would change my life forever. There it sat, a $3 million hypercar, forgotten under years of neglect, sold to me for less than the price of a smartphone. If you think this story sounds impossible, stick around until the end. I promise you'll never look at family heirlooms the same way again. If this incredible journey resonates with you, smash that like button and subscribe to join me on more adventures that prove sometimes life's greatest treasures are hidden in plain sight. It all started 3 weeks ago. I was helping my girlfriend move her grandmother into assisted living, a bittersweet day of boxing memories and saying goodbye to the farmhouse that had been in their family for generations. Margaret, or Nana Meg as everyone called her, was 93 years old with a sharp mind but failing body. Her husband had passed away 15 years earlier, and the property had slowly fallen into disrepair. "There's still that old shed out back," my girlfriend Sophie mentioned as we loaded the last boxes into the moving truck. "Grandpa never let anyone in there after he retired. Mom says it's just full of junk he couldn't bear to throw away." I volunteered to check it out, thinking we might find some antique tools worth selling to help with Nana Meg's care expenses. The padlock was rusted shut, so I had to break it with a hammer from the toolbox in my truck. The door protested with years of resistance, but when it finally gave way, I couldn't believe my eyes. Under a faded canvas tarp sat what appeared to be a car, not just any car, but something low and sleek with distinctive curves. My heart raced as I pulled back the cover, coughing through clouds of dust. There it was, in all its neglected glory, a Bugatti Chiron, one of the most exclusive hypercars ever built. "Sophie!" I yelled, my voice cracking with disbelief. "You need to see this." She came running, followed by her mother and Nana Meg, who insisted on using her walker to make the journey across the overgrown yard. When they saw what lay inside the shed, Sophie and her mother gasped. But Nana Meg just smiled sadly. "Harold's silly car," she said softly. "He bought it right before he got sick. Never even drove it." The story came out in pieces as we stood there, stunned. Sophie's grandfather Harold had been a quiet, frugal man who worked as an investment banker. Unknown to his family, he'd made a fortune through smart investments, and the Bugatti had been his one indulgence, his dream purchase for retirement. But just weeks after buying it, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He'd parked the car in the shed, unable to enjoy it but unwilling to sell his dream, and there it had remained, a secret he took to his grave. "What do we do with it?" Sophie's mother asked, clearly overwhelmed. Nana Meg looked at me thoughtfully. "You know about cars, don't you, dear? Harold would want someone to enjoy it. $500 and it's yours." I thought she was joking. "Nana Meg, this car is worth millions." She waved her hand dismissively. "Money won't bring Harold back. And we need that shed cleared out before the new owners take over. Consider it payment for all your help." Sophie and her mother tried to reason with her, explaining the car's value, but Nana Meg was adamant. "I'm not senile," she insisted. "I know exactly what I'm doing. Harold kept too many secrets, including from me. I don't want his car or his money. I want peace." That night, after getting Nana Meg settled in her new room, Sophie and I had a serious conversation. The ethical implications were enormous. Taking a multi-million-dollar car for $500 felt wrong, even with Nana Meg's blessing. We decided to make a compromise. I would accept the car, but set up a trust for Nana Meg's care with a significant portion of its value if we restored and sold it. The next day, I returned with a trailer and the paperwork. Nana Meg signed over the title with a steady hand, accepting our compromise with grace. "Just promise me one thing," she said. "Before you sell it, drive it once for Harold. He never got the chance." Getting the Bugatti onto the trailer was a challenge. The tires were flat, the battery dead, and years of sitting had seized many components. It took 6 hours, 3 friends, and a lot of creative engineering to load it safely. The whole time, I kept expecting someone to stop us, to point out the absurdity of hauling one of the world's most exclusive cars on my beat-up trailer behind my 2010 Toyota Tacoma. The real work began once I got it home. I'm a mechanic by trade, but I specialize in Japanese imports, not French hypercars. The Bugatti Chiron has a quad-turbocharged 8.0-liter W16 engine producing 1,479 horsepower. It's essentially aerospace technology on wheels. I was way out of my depth. I reached out to my network and connected with Marcus, a retired exotic car specialist who agreed to consult on the project. When he saw the car in my garage, he actually sat down on my toolbox, overwhelmed. In 30 years working with supercars, I've never seen anything like this, he said. A barn-find Chiron? It's unheard of. We assessed the damage. The car would need extensive work, new fluids, belts, seals, tires, a complete detailing, and likely some electronic components. The estimated cost for restoration, $115,000. I didn't have that kind of money, and selling parts from the car to fund its restoration felt wrong. That's when Sophie suggested documenting our journey on YouTube. People love restoration stories, she said. Maybe we could fund the project through the channel. I was skeptical but desperate. We filmed the car's discovery, recreated, of course, the emotional story behind it, and our plans for restoration. Sophie edited the video on her laptop, and we uploaded it with modest expectations. It got 3 million views in the first week. Comments flooded in, many questioning the authenticity of our story. How could someone forget about a Bugatti? Why would a grandmother sell it for $500? Others were inspired, seeing it as a testament to how life's priorities change in the face of mortality. Viewers began suggesting specialists who could help, and part suppliers reached out offering components at cost in exchange for featuring their products. The channel grew exponentially. We named it Harold's Legacy, and each video documented another step in the restoration process. I learned more about automotive engineering in those months than in my entire career. Marcus became a regular, his expertise and storytelling about the golden age of supercars drawing even more viewers. But the project wasn't without challenges. 3 months in, we discovered critical damage to the engine that would require specialized parts from Bugatti. The cost was astronomical, and the company was hesitant to sell to independent mechanics. The comments section was divided. Some viewers thought we should sell to a collector who could afford proper restoration, others believed we should stay the course. The lowest point came when a legal letter arrived from a distant cousin of Harold's, claiming the car had been improperly sold and demanding its return. Sophie was devastated, Nana Meg was distressed, and our restoration stalled as we consulted lawyers. The YouTube community rallied around us. A viewer who happened to be an estate attorney offered pro bono consultation, confirming that Nana Meg had every right to sell the property. Another viewer connected us with a Bugatti technician willing to help off the books. Donations came in through our channel, not enough to cover everything, but enough to keep moving forward. 6 months into the project, we had a breakthrough. A representative from Bugatti reached out after seeing our channel. Initially, I feared a cease and desist order, but instead, they were intrigued by the story. They offered to provide the necessary parts and technical support to complete the restoration properly. Their condition, they wanted to document the final stages for their own heritage program. The collaboration transformed the project. With Bugatti's resources, what had seemed impossible became achievable. The car that had sat forgotten for 15 years was gradually returning to its former glory. Each milestone, the first time the engine turned over, the day we lowered it onto its new tires, the moment the signature horseshoe grille was reattached, brought us closer to fulfilling our promise to Nana Meg. 9 months after discovering the car, we were ready for the moment of truth. The Bugatti was mechanically restored, its nocturne black paint gleaming under the garage lights. Sophie, Marcus, the Bugatti representatives, and a film crew gathered as I prepared for the first drive. But something didn't feel right. "Wait," I said. "There's someone missing." 2 hours later, we arrived at Nana Meg's assisted living facility with the Bugatti on a trailer. The staff and residents gathered in the parking lot, many of them regular viewers of our channel. When we helped Nana Meg outside, her eyes filled with tears at the sight of Harold's dream restored. "He would be so proud," she whispered, running her hand along the car's fender. What happened next wasn't planned. "Would you like to go for a ride, Nana Meg?" I asked impulsively. The logistics were complicated. Getting a 94-year-old woman with mobility issues into a low-slung supercar isn't easy, but with determination and several pillows, we managed it. The Bugatti roared to life, and I drove as gently as possible around the facility grounds, Nana Meg beaming the entire time. "Harold would have driven much faster," she laughed, surprising us all. That moment, the joy on her face, the connection to her husband's unfulfilled dream, made every struggle worthwhile. It wasn't about the car's value or the channel's success, it was about honoring a promise and bringing closure to a family story. The video of Nana Meg's ride became our most viewed ever, touching millions who saw in it something universal about love, loss, and legacy. Automotive magazines and news outlets picked up the story, and offers to purchase the restored Chiron poured in, many exceeding $4 million. In the end, we made a decision that felt right for everyone. We accepted an offer from a collector who agreed to two unusual conditions. First, that a significant portion of the proceeds would go to a trust for Nana Meg and cancer research in Harold's name, and second, that the car would be displayed in a public museum for part of each year, with a plaque telling Harold's story. The day we handed over the keys was bittersweet. The Bugatti had become more than a car to us. It was the vessel that carried Harold's unfulfilled dreams and the catalyst that brought together an unlikely community. As the new owner drove away, Sophie squeezed my hand. "What now?" she asked. I looked at our garage, empty except for my tools and the remnants of our restoration project. "I think Harold had the right idea," I said. "Life's too short not to chase your dreams, but it's also too precious to keep those dreams locked away." 2 weeks later, we used a small portion of our proceeds to purchase an abandoned 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB from an elderly man whose health prevented him from completing his own restoration. Our channel evolved from one miraculous find to a series of rescues, giving forgotten classics new life and sharing the human stories behind them. As for Nana Meg, she moved to a premium care facility where she became something of a celebrity. She often joined our live streams, sharing stories about Harold and dispensing wisdom about life and loss. "Things are just things," she would say, until they become bridges to the people we love. The Bugatti Chiron that I bought for $500 was never really mine. It was a legacy temporarily in my care, a story waiting to be told, a dream deferred but not forgotten. Its true value wasn't in its price tag but in the journey it inspired and the connections it created. If there's an old shed in your life, literal or metaphorical, that you've been afraid to open, take it from me, the dust and cobwebs are worth braving. You never know what treasures await, not just in what you might find, but in who you might become in the finding. If this story touched you, please hit that subscribe button. Our journey continues, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. Because sometimes the most extraordinary adventures begin with an ordinary moment and the courage to turn the key.